Rabes and Germs, my name's McConaughey, and this is the third installment of Retro Thursdays here on Mishmashers.com. Before sharing my thoughts, I wanted to let all of you know that my novel, The Kane's Files, written alongside my brother Scott Moore, is available on Amazon for $8.99 on paperback and $5.99 on the Kindle. I hope readers will stop to take a look at our episodic crime mystery novel, and maybe even let us know what they think in a review on Amazon. It'd be very much appreciated. Cheers. Our third and final Batman video game on this edition of Retro Thursdays is Batman Begins on the Gameboy Advance. If you haven't seen the earlier entries I did for today's edition, I also looked at Batman Forever the arcade game on the PlayStation and Batman on the Sega Genesis. I wanted to have a range of different iterations to share my opinion on, and I will say that I do believe Batman Begins on the Game Boy Advance is the best of the three I've looked at today. As you can expect, Batman Begins is a video game adaptation of the Nolan-directed film of the same name, and it works through various events in the film. Developed by Vicarious Visions, the video game carries a familiar beat-em-up approach, but more than that, it offers some variation as well. Through what I would admit is a hastily thrown-together narrative recap of the film, Batman Begins is able to provide more variation. Elements of actual platforming can be seen, which provide a welcome break, but are admittedly very exact and lacking in polish. For instance, swinging from a hanging chandelier can be problematic, as can the exactness of grabbing hanging hooks. All in all, what it comes down to is that it could have been more fluid. I think the animations are above standard in Batman Begins as far as Game Boy Advance titles are concerned, with your character being able to roll and do wall-to-wall jumps very well. Something else Batman Begins brings with it is the ability to implement stealth, sometimes offered as a choice and other times being mandatory. And like the platforming, while I would regard it as overtly simplified and lacking in polish, it adds an extra dimension and keeps me on my toes, avoiding the tedium of repetitive button-mashing action. The fighting itself is your standard affair. Certain characters are stronger than others in terms of combat, others carry handguns, but I find that most of them all can be conquered with the same tactic. That is, catching them off guard with a gliding kick, then crouching, swiping at their legs with kicks, and occasionally suckering in an uppercut. The graphics in Batman Begins are solid, once more complemented by the fluid animation. Interestingly enough, while Batman Begins is, of course, a retelling of the film, and strings of text-based dialogue is shown depicting the costume from said film, the Batman you play as opts for a more traditional gray and black. A criticism I will mention about Batman Begins is in regards to its difficulty. Although in general I wouldn't regard Batman Begins as difficult by any means, that fact is changed because the long stretches without checkpoints and the non-existent health packs that will sorely be missed. It isn't cripplingly difficult, but it seems unnecessarily frustrating for the sake of itself, having to redo long stretches because you made a small mistake. Batman Begins kept my attention well enough. I finished the campaign in under 2 hours, and that itself should tell you it isn't something I can recommend anyone going out and spending their money on, when for the same price you can purchase Return to Arkham. However, it's an enjoyable Batman adventure on a handheld console. Thanks for joining me on this edition of Retro Thursdays. I know I wasn't exactly glowing in any of these reviews, but I'd mention I also really haven't scratched the surface on all the classic Batman games I wanted to look at. If you have any thoughts you'd like to share on any of these games I talked about, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. I'd really love to know what you guys think about them, because while I revisit these games, I know that I won't always have the same perspective as someone who might have played them fresh from their release. Anyways, with that said, my name's McConaughey, and I'll see you next time.